Well, the big story today, Election Day 2020, and things are officially underway here in South Carolina. And take a look, because behind me are voting selfies that many of you have been sending in as you cast your ballot. And even though polls have only been open for a few hours, it's already turning out to be a very eventful day. As of last night, about 1.3 million South Carolinians had already cast their ballots, and more are expected to head to the polls today. Long lines can be seen at polling locations across the Midlands. News 19's Whitney Sullivan, she's been out all morning long, and she joins us now from Hand Middle School. Whitney, how are things out there right now?
Thank you so much, Brandon. Well, here at Hand Middle School, everything is going pretty smooth, but that wasn't the case just about an hour ago. They had a situation, and I'm actually going to bring in our poll clerk here, Mr. Jones, who is a familiar face for many of you if you come to Hand Middle School. Tell us what happened earlier today.
Well, we had a good turnout this morning, processed everybody through. About 9:30, it got kind of quiet, and there was no line. And then just before 10 o'clock, about 9:53, we lost complete power at Hand Middle School. So that's a challenge for us. Some of our machines have battery backups. Some of them, specifically our printers for our new express votes, do not. So we scrambled a little bit. I looked at my assistant clerk, who's a friend of mine, and I knew that he had a generator. He said, you want me to go get the generator? And I said, let's do it. So we were back up and running in about 20 minutes. Had roughly a dozen people here or so through that course of that time, who all were very patient with us. And then we were back up and running, got them processed through, and we've been running off the generator ever since.
So typically people don't like to hear the sound of a generator, but it's music to your ears today, right?
It certainly is. It's allowed us to keep everything going. We do have backup systems in place. We can vote people on a paper ballot if needed, but certainly keeping everybody voting the regular, normal way through our machines and systems is the best. So we were able to achieve that by going and grabbing a generator.
Well, thank you guys so much for going that extra mile and using your own personal generator. A big shout out to the poll managers, all the poll clerks out there who have been working so hard to make sure that this process moves smoothly, because we've heard about some issues at other polling locations, but because these volunteers stepped in and worked everything out, the voting process has been pretty smooth and steady. All right, we'll continue to monitor things out here, but for now, we'll send things back to you in the studio.
Glad things are going smoothly. Well, our Vote Squad continues our Election Day team coverage. News 19's Devin Johnson is in Orangeburg County, where Claflin University students and staff are taking advantage of Election Day and encouraging folks to exercise their right to vote.
Claflin University is hoping to lead by example today. They close the university and march to the polls with students and staff who haven't voted. Your vote matters. Your vote matters. Your vote matters. It's more than a day off from school for these young voters. Several Claflin students and staff members gathered at the university and marched together to South Carolina State University to cast their ballot.
Once you see someone starts to vote and actually going out to the polls, then that inspires you to get up and go to the polls as well. A lot of people, one of our things are to educate those on the importance of voting, and a lot of people, lack that until they're actually educated.
Claflin's president says they've been preparing for the 2020 election since the last school year. They learned early on about candidates' platforms and the decisions on how they wanted to vote.
What we've constantly said is this: vote for individuals who doesn't just show up on election day or election time, but who will be there throughout the duration of your time in your community.
Education and encouraging residents to exercise their right to vote is the main message. But for first-time voters like Jasmine Hudson, marching to the polls with her Claflin family makes this voting process much easier.
I came out here because I feel like I'd be more comfortable instead of going by myself, and, well, more safer actually too. So yeah, I just feel like I'll do better with this environment.
And students say not only Claflin votes matters, but all votes matter. In Orangeburg County, I'm Devin Johnson, News 19 WOTX.
Here at the Sumter County Career Center, hundreds of voters have already cast their ballot, and despite record early turnout already in Sumter County, workers say some of the voters were adamant about waiting until today.
Passionate about coming in today on Election Day. They wanted to make sure that they didn't miss this day, even if they had to wait in line. And they were very patient.
So far, there haven't been any major issues reported at this location, and the lines have been moving at a good pace. Several first-time voters waited to cast their ballots today.
I'm bringing my children to get to vote. They watched the election 4 years ago and were real excited. So very involved and been watching them, and so it's kind of a passing the torch to let them come out and vote today.
Jordan Hatfield, another first-time voter, said she was nervous about the process but happy for the chance to have her voice heard.
Not everything gets to go my way, but I can try to vote and fight to get it that way. That's why I voted, because I got to voice my opinion somehow.
For Street Squad Sumter, I'm Kaylin Hagwood.
Well, as you head out the door, just a reminder that all polling places will be open until 7 o'clock here in the Palmetto State. And if you're still in line after 7 o'clock, don't worry. The Election Commission says you will still be able to cast your ballot. You just need to be in line by closing time. Well, be sure to double check your assigned polling location before you get in line to vote. This is something you need to keep in mind because those locations can change even on Election Day. The easiest way to confirm your voting location is go to scvotes.gov and click Find My Polling Place. Here you will find the most updated information on where you need to go in order to cast your ballot. And when you get to the polls, make sure you have a photo ID ready. The Election Commission says you will need it in order to cast a ballot. You can bring a South Carolina driver's license, a DMV ID card, your voter registration card with a photo, a federal military ID, or U.S. passport. Well, as you do head out to vote, our Vote Squad wants to hear about your experience. Do you have concerns or problems at your polling precinct? Any last-minute questions before you vote? Or maybe you want to share a photo from your wait at the poll. You can text us at 803-776-9508. And again, don't forget to include your name and where you're voting in your text. And again, text 776-9508. If you need a ride to the polls today, we are on your side with a few options. The Columbia Comet bus system will offer free rides at various Midlands locations. Lyft and Blue Bike also have special offers for Richland County residents. Uber is offering discounted rides. The company will take 50% off round-trip rides to and from the polls. Uber also added a new in-app poll finding feature to help people find their correct polling location. And Levy's Funeral Home here in Columbia is also offering free rides to Richland County residents. They say they will have limos equipped with plastic barriers inside. For more information on your options, just go to WLTX.com. We also have all this posted on the News 19 mobile app. And you can still drop off your absentee ballot today if you have one. You've got to do it by 7 o'clock to make sure your vote counts. Absentee ballots can only be dropped at your county's election and registration office. They cannot be dropped off at your precinct now that it's Election Day. The rules have changed, so make sure that you abide by that and that you drop off your absentee vote at your county election and registration office. Well, we have an update for you this midday. We told you earlier about a polling location that was evacuated due to smoke. We brought this to you at 9 o'clock this morning. Now, we know that smoke was in the building at Earlwood Park Community Center. Columbia fire officials say the smoke was caused by an overheated motor in the building's heating and cooling system. The precinct has since reopened, so things are good to go there.